Welcome to the second lecture in electrical machines. We are discussing the alternators, and in this lecture we are going to study the constructional features of the synchronous machine. So the important parts of the synchronous machines are basically the stator, the rotor, and some of the miscellaneous part. So we will see one by one the various parts of the synchronous machine. What is a stator? Stator is basically the outer stationary part of the machine, which is known as the stator, and has the following important parts. So it is the outer part of the machine. So stator will have a frame, so which is the outer body of the machine, and it consists of made up of cast iron. So stator frame is made up of cast iron and it protects the inner part of the machine. It can also made of any other strong material since it is not to carry the magnetic field. So stator frame is generally to protect the machine. So it has to be made from a strong material. It has not to carry any magnetic field. Cast iron is used only because of its high mechanical strength. Because the cast iron mechanical strength is quite more, so the frame is made up of cast iron. The second part is the stator core, which is made up of silicon steel, and it is in the form of stamping which are insulated from each other. The function is to provide an easy path for the magnetic lines of force to accommodate the stator winding. So stator core is the where the flux is produced. It is generally made up of silicon steel, which are basically stampings are there and properly insulated from each other. It provides easy path for the flux and it also carry the stator winding. The third important part of the stator is the stator winding. So basically the slot circuit on the inner periphery of the stator core, in which you have the three-phase or single-phase winding. So depending on this, we can form a three-phase synchronous machine or a single-phase synchronous machine. So enameled copper is used as the winding material. So copper being a good conductor of electricity, we use the copper to form the stator winding. So stator we have covered, which is the outermost periphery of the synchronous machine, and it has the following important parts, which is the frame, the core, and the winding. Whereas the rotor is basically the rotating part of the machine. Stator is the stationary part and rotor is the rotating part. So rotor can be of two different types. One is the salient pole type and other one is the non-salient pole type. So salient pole means the pole which is projecting out. So we will see the fundamentals of the salient pole. It is construction is low. So the cost involved in the construction of the salient pole type of machine is low, but cannot bear high mechanical stress at high speed. So when the synchronous machine is running at a high speed, it will not able to bear the high mechanical stress. That is the reason at the high speed synchronous machine we will go for the non-salient pole type. And therefore it is suited for medium and low speed and are usually employed at hydroelectric power stations and diesel power plant. So when synchronous machine has to run for the medium or the low speed, we will prefer the salient pole type, and when it has to run at a high speed, then we'll go for the non-salient pole type. It is generally used in the hydroelectric power plant and diesel power plant to produce the electricity. Now the important parts of the salient pole rotor are the spider, the pole core and the pole shoe, the field winding or the excitation winding, and the damper winding. What is a spider? Spider is made up of cast iron and it provides an easy path for the flux. It is keyed to the shaft of the machine at the outer surface. Pole core and pole shoe are keyed to it. Now, the pole core and pole shoe. Pole core provides least reluctance path. So, if the reluctance is lower, it will be easy to establish the flux in the core of the transformer, the core of the magnetic path, that is the magnetic field. The pole shoe distributes the field over the whole periphery uniformly to produce a sinusoidal EMF wave. So the pole shoe is trying to produce a sinusoidal EMF wave. The field winding or the excitation winding is owned on the former, which is the core, and then placed around the pole core. DC supply is given to it. So the excitation winding, which is the field winding, we will be giving a DC supply, which we have discussed in the previous lecture also. So it will be around 125 to 600 volt DC supply, and this will be given through slip rings. So when DC flows through the field winding, it produces the required magnetic field. So we require to produce a flux in the field, that is through the field winding when a DC supply is passed through it. Now, one important parts of the rotor is basically the damper winding, which is at the outermost periphery, and holes are provided in which copper bars are inserted and short circuited at both the sides by ring forming a damper winding. We will discuss damper winding in more detail in the coming lecture. So here, generally to understand the damper winding, we see in the pole shoe there will be holes produced, and these are basically copper bars are inserted and short circuited. They forms a ring which is known as the damper winding. So this is basically the spider of the rotor. These are the pole core and the pole shoe. This is the total rotor of the salient pole type, and we will be having a pole and the field winding of the rotor. Now we can see a salient pole type alternator which is mounted vertically in the hydroelectric power plant. So in the hydroelectric power plant, how the salient pole type machines are there. So generally the segments on the individual poles are joined together to form a common ring, resulting in short circuited squirrel cage winding. So when we have discussed the induction motor, we have discussed that the rotor of the induction motor is basically squirrel cage type, and here the rotors are short circuited at the end ring. So on the similar nature, the salient pole rotor of the synchronous machines are also in the form of squirrel cage winding. So salient pole machines are frequently provided with a damper winding on the rotor. So we have seen how the damper winding are provided on the rotor, and these are mainly for the salient pole machine. These damper winding are basically used to damp the rotor oscillation during transient condition. So whenever there is some fluctuation in the voltage or the current, what happens is that some type of transient phenomena occurs, and these damper winding will damp out the rotor oscillations, and it will facilitate a smooth operation under unbalanced load conditions. So whenever the load is unbalanced, it will facilitate a smooth operation of the rotor. Now hydroelectric power plant will generally use the salient pole type because the speed will be under the low or the medium speed, are placed with their shaft in the vertical position. So here we can see the shaft is in the vertical position. So generally in hydroelectric power plant where the salient pole rotor are used, the rotor is placed in the vertical position. Now we have seen the salient pole. So non-salient pole type of rotor, let us see. So these are basically the non-projecting type rotor. So here in this figure we have been shown the non-salient pole type rotor, and this is the actual rotor of the non-salient pole, which is given with the help of slip rings, and pole and the field winding are shown. So it is suited for the high speed. So wherever high speed is required for the alternator, we will go for the non-salient pole type rotor. Generally the steam turbines rotate at a high speed, that is 3000 rpm. So there the salient type of rotor we will not use, and non-salient type of rotor we are going to use. So when these turbines are used as prime mover for generator, a small number of poles are required for a given frequency. So we know that the poles and frequency are related to each other. So because it has to run at a very high speed, so for a small number of poles, these type of turbines are generally used as the prime mover for the generator. So there has smaller diameter and larger length. So non-salient pole type rotor will have the diameter smaller and large axial length. Now, non-salient pole type of rotor have the following parts. So what are the parts? One, we have the core, that is the rotor core, which is made up of silicon steel stamping. It is keyed to the shaft and it provides an easy path to the magnetic flux. So this is the basic function of any type of core, because it has to produce an easy path to the magnetic flux. Silicon steel is the better material. Then the rotor winding or the excitation winding, which is placed in the rotor slot, and current is passed through the winding in such a way that poles are formed according to the requirement. So these rotor slots will carry the rotor winding, and which forms the pole, which is in such a way that poles are formed according to the requirement. Now here in this figure we can see how the non-salient pole, which is also known as a round rotor machine. So this is a non-salient. So here you have the salient rotor. In the salient rotor we can see how the poles will be projected out. Whereas in the round rotor, your poles will not be projected out. It will be in the form of a round rotor. That is the reason it is called non-salient pole. Now, in the salient pole rotor, your field will not be uniform, and you will be having one field which is the direct axis and other field in the form of a quadrature axis. So when we study the salient pole in detail, we will see what is a direct axis and what is quadrature axis of the field. Now, if we compare the round rotor machine with the salient rotor machine, we see that in a round rotor machine there is a uniform air gap. So if you see the air gap here, it is uniform because the rotor is round. It means the self-inductance of the stator coil does not depend on the position of the rotor. So whenever we are trying to find the inductance of the winding, that is the coil, it will not depend on the position of the rotor. So once the rotor is rotating, the air gap is uniform, so the self-inductance is uniform. Whereas in the salient pole type, there is a varying air gap. So here we have the north pole and south pole which are projecting out. So when this rotor is rotating, it is cutting the flux in the air gap. So this is a varying air gap resulting in stator self-inductance, which is time varying. So here the self-inductance does not depend on the position of the rotor, whereas salient pole type machine, the rotor self-inductance are time varying. So salient pole has D axis and Q axis reactance. So the reactance of the round rotor machine is constant, whereas the salient pole machine, the reactance on the direct axis and the quadrature axis will be differ. Now here we can see how the alternator stator is there, where the core is basically laminated, and we will be having the armature coils in the slot present in the stator core, and these will be laminated with respect to each other and properly insulated. The rotor, we can have a salient pole type or cylindrical rotor, which is the round rotor type. Salient pole type rotor will have the projecting out rotor. So these are the projecting out rotor, and cylindrical rotor type will have a round rotor. So in the round rotor, that is the cylindrical rotor type. What are the special features of salient and non-salient structures? So salient pole structures are of larger diameter and shorter length. So diameter will be large and length will be shorter. Usually 2/3 of the pole pitch is covered by the pole shoe. So we have seen what is the pole pitch. Pole pitch is basically the adjacent distance between the pole. So if you have a north pole here and south pole here, this distance is known as the pole pitch. So 2/3 of the pole pitch is covered by the pole shoe. And to reduce the eddy current losses, the poles are laminated in the salient pole structure. This is generally employed where the low speed machine like 100 to 375 RPM employed in hydraulic turbines or wind diesel engines are employed. Non-salient structure, on the other hand, are generally have smaller diameter and very long axial length. So if you compare the salient pole structure with the non-salient pole structure, salient pole will have larger diameter and shorter wavelength, whereas non-salient structure will have smaller diameter and very long axial length. It will have a robust construction and noiseless operation. Because the rotor is non-salient type, the construction is robust and it is noiseless operation. So less windage for the losses. So air resistance loss will be lesser in non-salient structure. It will have a better dynamic balancing because the rotor is round and air gap is uniform. The losses is less as well as dynamic balancing is there. It is suited for the high operating speed around 3000 rpm. So this is suited for 100 to 375 rpm, whereas non-salient structure are suitable for high operating speed, that is 3000 rpm. So in non-salient structure, nearly sinusoidal flux distribution around the periphery is produced, which is giving a better EMF waveform than that of salient pole structure. Because in salient pole structure, the poles are projecting out and air gap is not uniform, so it will not give you a sinusoidal flux distribution, but here you will have a better EMF waveform. And there is no need to provide a damper winding. So these damper winding are generally used in salient pole structure because the solid field poles themselves act as an efficient dampers. So we don't require a damper winding for the non-salient structure. Now some of the miscellaneous part are basically the brushes. So we have seen the stator and the rotor. Now miscellaneous part will have brushes which are basically made up of carbon, and these just slip over the slip rings. So DC supply is basically given to the brushes, and from brushes current flows to the slip ring and then to the excitation winding. So generally brushes are present on the rotating part, so they tear out and because it is made up of carbon, and there is a rubbing continuously over the slip rings. The bearings are provided between the shaft and outer stationary body to reduce the friction. So bearings are another miscellaneous part of the machine. Shaft is made up of mild steel. Mechanical power is taken or given to the machine through the shaft. So shaft is the one where the energy is input or energy is taken output from the machine, whether it is a generator or the motor. So there is some air gap between the stator and rotor, and it has some significance. So what is the significance of that? So a very small air gap increase the stray load losses and synchronous reactance. So if you have a small air gap, it will increase the load losses, that is the stray losses, and will produce a synchronous reactance. If you have a large air gap, it needs large excitation current. So current requirement is very more to produce the flux, and therefore a compromise has to be made between a small air gap and a large air gap. Generally, the ratio of air gap to the pole pitch is kept between 0.008 and 0.02. So this is generally a taken assumption that the ratio of air gap to the pole pitch is between 0.008 and 0.002. So it is neither very small or neither a very large air gap is provided. So this chapter gives the brief overview of the constructional details of the synchronous machine. See you in the next lecture. Thank you for now.